Next Tuesday, Atlanta will elect its next mayor in a runoff between City Council President Felicia and City Council member Andre Dickens. Regardless of who voters choose to replace outgoing Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, Atlanta will elect its 7th consecutive black mayor. While both candidates in the runoff are black, racial undertones have been prevalent throughout the campaign. Moore, who has garnered substantial support from conservatives, was heavily criticized by her supporters for a statement posted to social media following the Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty verdict. The post read in part, "We all know very well that if a young black man had committed the crimes Rittenhouse had, it would have been a speedy, open and shut case that ended with that black man going to prison." The post was condemned by conservatives in the comments and Moore quickly deleted it. Dickens and several Atlanta-based activists blasted Moore for what they believed to be her succumbing to pressure about the post. Dickens said of the deleted post, "Either you meant what you said the first time, or you're too scared of your conservative backers that will threaten you every day that you're in office." But this is not the only instance of race being used in the runoffs. The Safer Atlanta PAC, who supports Moore, is also being accused of darkening shadows around the face of Dickens in an ad critical of the councilman for voting to withhold $73 million from the Atlanta police budget. Political analysts say that the darkening of a black candidate's skin has historically been done to project an air of danger to white voters. While the latest poll suggests that Dickens has a 5 percentage point lead over Moore, over 20% of voters remain undecided. Joining me now to discuss the latest in the Atlanta mayoral race is political strategist Leo Smith. So Leo, this is a fascinating race because when you look at the map of where these candidates drew their support in the first round of voting, Moore drew her support from kind of midtown to the northern parts of the city, the whiter parts. And Dickens drew his major support from Midtown down to the south and west, which is mostly black. Is it just that simple that this race pitched candidates who are favorites of different racial groups?
Well, it's going to be very interesting. This is going to be a model for turnout after Turkey Day, Mr. Blow. This situation it's pretty much a dead heat from the latest polling coming out. And certainly they appeal, these two candidates, to really two different audiences. Felicia Moore is, the city council president in the city of Atlanta, has really established herself as somewhat of a centrist, a moderate, a more of an establishment candidate. And so therefore, in this era where crime is being politicized and commoditized as a weapon in elections, and crime being the major issue that voters in Atlanta are also concerned about, certainly the North Atlanta, the Buckhead Atlantans are concerned about it. She seemed to have more appeal there. She won 40% of the vote in the primary runoff. Dickens split with Reed 2020. But now we see a situation where Dickens is picking up steam. Maybe we've had some defections because of the Kyle Rittenhouse comments she's made. Maybe some defections because of some of the shenanigans that might have occurred with darkening his complexion as a way of scaring people, Willie Horton 88 style. I heard one of your guests mention that earlier. So this race is too close to call still. It looks like the steam, though, all the momentum is headed towards Dickens. I think a lot of people being introduced to him as sort of a new face, a new voice, a more progressive voice, but also a certainly steady and studied voice Dickens has demonstrated in the debates.
Right. So in the 2000 census, the black population of Atlanta finally dropped below 50%. Now it's at 47%. Atlanta is no longer a majority black city. It is a city with a black plurality. As they say about DC, it's no longer a chocolate city, it's a chocolate chip city. If Moore were to win, would this be the first time probably in 45, 50 years that the winning coalition would have been driven by the white population of the city?
Well, it's gotten close a couple of times. One of the leaders in Atlanta, out of Buckhead, Mary Norwood, a white American Atlantan, has come very close. I mean, with several hundred votes close in past elections. And so I believe that Felicia Moore has picked up some of her silent support. I don't think there's been an endorsement yet, but yeah, this would be a situation where the voice of the more white Buckhead, north of I-20, Interstate 20 folks are really making their voices heard here. There's, as you know, a big movement to make Buckhead, the whiter section of Atlanta, a city in its own right. What's driving that movement is primarily crime, although the movement is also somewhat influenced by high property tax rates. So that's also,
Right.
it's sort of what I've heard it said in some of the communities around there that Kasim and other mayors have had their own redistributive justice program going by hiking up property taxes. And so folks are now accumulating a lot of tension in
Right.
that city. And you've got different groups there in Buckhead really dividing by race and interest in crime.
So I have about a minute left here. As you say, these two candidates are basically in a dead heat, but Dickens seems to be the favorite of the black people of Atlanta at this point. There's 20% of people who are undecided, but there are twice as many black people who are undecided than there are white people. Does that basically mean that the wind is in Dickens' sails going into this election?
I would agree that the wind is indeed in Dickens' sail. You see that more voters that voted on November 2nd that voted for Felicia Moore are now showing that they to vote for Andre Dickens, whereas you're not seeing the same on the other side with Dickens voters being willing to consider Felicia Moore. Now that post-Turkey Day, they'll go to the polls and vote for the next mayor of Atlanta. So all the momentum is looking like it's headed Dickens' way. You don't look at one data point, you look at trends, and right now, trend is advantage Dickens.
Leo Smith, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it.